All things North London derby coming up. We're going to start with Arsenal, though, just because they're the home side, not because we're exhibiting any kind of bias here. Certainly not on this side of the table. But Paul, look, for Arsenal and the season that they've had, 18 games unbeaten now, with the progress in the Europa League, with the development in the league as the season's gone on. How would you assess their season coming into this derby?
I think in some of them games they have been fortunate, but to go 18 games, I mean, even on a Sunday morning, that's a feat. To do it in the Premier League and in the Europa Cup as well, and getting the balance of leaving players out. In them 18 games that they've gone undefeated, last season they'd have probably lost 5 of them. And that's where I think the change has been. I like the manager, he has a go. You know, when they played Liverpool at home the other week, it was like, we're not going to keep a clean sheet here, I'm going to play Aubameyang up with Lacazette as well in the team, and we're going to have a go. And that's what I like about him. They are improving. At the start of the season, I didn't give them a chance of getting in the top 4, not a chance. Now, come nearly December, they have a chance, and I think that's where they've improved.
His approach to the Europa League has been refreshing as well, in that it's a competition that he knows well, and he clearly wants the club to have success in.
Yeah, he's won it 3 times. I mean, he's along with a few other managers, he's a record amount of times to win it. You know, he's certainly having a go. Not tonight, they're already qualified, they've already done the hard work. Good experience for the young boys who've gone out there to Kiev tonight. The big game is the weekend, he realises that. I think soon he'll realise that North London derby is the biggest game for the fans. Not necessarily the biggest game for what he needs at the moment for Arsenal Football Club as regards to results, but he's certainly taken them forward. I thought they were going nowhere very quickly over the last 3 or 4 years. You know, they were stagnating. They needed a change. He's certainly taken them in the right direction. But I still feel like they've got a lot of work to do. The frailties for me are defensively still. I think they've got a lot of firepower, as Mer suggests there. You know, Lacazette and Aubameyang score great goals. You know, always going to be a threat on the counter-attack. But I still feel like they've got a soft centre at the back, and I think nothing's changed there. He's going to need a few windows to be able to address that, I would suggest.
As Tim said, it was a big night for some of the young players to be able to play in European competition. What do you make of the fact that Aaron Ramsey started for Arsenal tonight?
Yeah, I thought that would happen because he won't play on Sunday. I thought it was quite clever of the manager because he sort of, I think he's looked at the fixtures and gone, right, I've got Tottenham after this trip a long time ago and gone, right, we have to qualify ASAP and then I can take a lesser team out here, and that's worked a treat. Yeah, I mean, Ramsey, they've let his contract run down. A multi-million pound company like Arsenal to let people, you know, it's like us having a £10 million house and letting the freehold run out on it. Do you know what I mean? When you could have renewed it and now you just lose it. And
I hope one day I know what that's like.
I've had that a couple of times. So I just think, but that's not his problem, and he's got sorted. I think there's a couple of good kids coming through, and I think the manager's looked at it and gone, you know what, I can't give you 200 grand a week. You know, I could probably get better somewhere else. I'm not saying me. I think Ramsey's all right. But I think the manager's looked at it and gone, I can't give you that kind of money. I can get better. And the lad Smith Rowe looks like he's going to be a player. Yeah. He might be one of them. He thinks, you know, who knows? Next season I can bring him in steadily. And if they both played the same amount of games, who would score the most goals? Do you know what I mean? And I think this lad Rowe's a good player. I
think you have to find a different way to do it. Tottenham have done that. Now look towards their academy. If the players haven't been good enough from the academy to play for Tottenham, a few have. Spectacular Harry Kane and Danny Rose. But the other boys have been sold for 70, 80 million pounds, then they can reinvest it. I think Arsenal will need to go that way. We can't all be Man Cities, can't all be Manchester Uniteds, can't all be Liverpools. Just keep throwing money at it. You have to find a different way. And I think that is possibly the way Arsenal need to go forward.
Even if they do spend the money, or even if they do have a big-name player like Ozil, we've seen that Emery's not frightened to drop him. He's not frightened to kind of say, look, in this instance, he's not the player that's right for me.
Kelly, isn't it? I think with Arsene Wenger, I think Ozil would have played. If he says he was fit, he would have just played him. I think you have to be on it. You have to be doing it on the training field every single day. And if you're not, this guy seems you have no favourites. You know, he just leaves them out and he decides that he'll play someone else. And I think that's the right way to go about it.
Well, what have you made of the way that he's handled Ozil?
Yeah, I'm a big Ozil fan. I think, you know, if he knew he was going to turn up on his game, he plays for anybody. he wasn't his player. So it's a bit of a statement because, you know, we can say, oh, cool, this manager, he don't mess about, he's strong. And, you know, the problem's going to be next season when he probably gets money in the windows and he buys someone for 50, 60 million quid. Then they start having a bad game. Does he keep on playing them, or is he ruthless and he says, no, you're sitting out this game? It's easy to do it when it's not your player and you haven't bought them at your club. You know, but when you buy someone for big money, you're obliged really to play them because you're under pressure.
In terms of the development of the squad under Emery, you talk about the change in playing style, you talk about the fact that he's not worried about dropping big-name players, that he might be starting to bring in some of the younger players. What about the added... I mean, if Emery himself is quite a strong-minded manager, has Torreira given them that strong presence on the pitch as well? Look, there are comparisons with Vieira, which he himself, Torreira said, well, maybe not favourable ones, but Torreira himself has said, no, that's ridiculous. No. But is he in that style, if not in that class?
Yeah, I mean, he's someone Arsenal have been searching for I don't know how many years now. You know, someone who can win the ball, who, you know, and can get around. I mean, they've been too nice, and I think that's where he's probably getting all the accolades from. Is Arsenal haven't had that player for so long, and now they have got him, and everybody's like, wow, cool, he's really good. You know, he's brilliant. You know, to be honest, he wouldn't play for Man City. You know, he probably wouldn't play for Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't probably play for Liverpool. So
or Tottenham.
And Tottenham. Sorry. So for how good he's been at Arsenal, he's not great. Do you know what I mean? But he's someone that Arsenal haven't had for a long time, and fair play to him. And he does a good job. But I'm with Tim. I think just at the back, I just think they don't defend like, you know, you get defenders. I played with Tony Adams and Steve Bold and people like Nigel and Lee Dixon. It was like forward scoring a hat-trick, them keeping a clean sheet. I don't see that at Arsenal. It's like, it's, you know, there's no desire to keep that clean sheet. And I don't mean they're not trying to keep it, but even if they're 2-0 up or 3-0 up with 5 minutes to go, they won't have that, come on, keep a clean sheet today. You know, it's like, oh, you know, we've let in one and we'll move on with 1-3-1. Can't keep on doing that.
You talked earlier about the fact this is the biggest game for the fans. Obviously, it's the biggest game for the fans. This particular one in the Premier League, though, where is this in Arsenal's priorities? Arsenal particularly in their priorities this season?
Well, it gives everyone belief that they can possibly get to the top four. I mean, they're going to get nearer towards Tottenham. I think if they can keep their eye on Tottenham and finish above Tottenham, they'll finish in the top four. I mean, there's a lot of other teams fighting it out also, but this will be a good measure of how far they've come. I think they played some big teams early on, certainly early on in the season, as Merce said, and they fell short. Liverpool performance was good at the Emirates. They're going to need that sort of performance again. They're going to need Tottenham not to be on song. I believe Tottenham have got the best players, but the best players don't always win the game. Sometimes the best team do on the day. They need everything to fall their way, I think, at the weekend to get the result. But
if you were to compare maybe this game to the League Cup tie between the two sides, for example, which of them's more important?
Listen, it's controversial what I'm going to say. For me, I go for the Carabao Cup all day long. I think it's really important. And I understand from the directors and the money men involved in the football club, top four is everything, and I understand that. But I'd want both. As a footballer, if you're a poor footballer in the Premier League now, you're going to be a millionaire when your career finishes. They're all going to be millionaires. Some are going to have more money than others, but it's not all about money. It's about what you win at the end of your career, I believe. And you want to be going up them steps at Wembley, and you want to collect that trophy. Now, the Carabao Cup for both of these teams is the easiest chance to win a trophy. Now, Arsenal have won trophies over recent history. Tottenham haven't won it for a very long time. For me, I want them to go and win the Carabao Cup. I want them to play their strongest team, and I want them to get that trophy and get something on the board. And I think that will help them keep players at the football club, because they will see them actually getting over the line and winning something, and maybe keeping their players what they need to do. So it's not all about going out and signing players, as we've seen with Tottenham. They haven't signed anyone in the last transfer window, but it was about keeping hold of their best players, and they was able to do that. Now, to continue to keep hold of your best players, it's not all about just getting into the Champions League. I mean, when we played in the Champions League, you had to win the league to get in the Champions League. Now they finish in the top four to get in there. You know, so go and win something. Go and win something as a player. For me, it's all about winning football matches, and actually at the end of the season, or end of your career, see how many medals you've got.
So both sides targeting top four and potentially a trophy.
Obviously want both.
I think Arsenal fans would rather beat Tottenham in the Cup than in the league, just to stop Tottenham winning something again for another year. Because this is Tottenham's best chance, is in this competition. I think this game this weekend's a bigger game for Arsenal than Tottenham. I think that's how much it's swung, really. I mean, the pressure's on Arsenal to perform and win the game. If Arsenal don't win this game, you're going to go away from here and go, Tottenham are just going away from Arsenal.
Particularly because Tottenham come into this after two really good results, the win against Inter Milan, the win against Chelsea, and in two very different ways as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham haven't played great this season up till last weekend. Against Chelsea, they did a job, and I mean, impressive job as well. Considering everybody was away, it weren't like the manager had 2 weeks to work on that. You know, it was a short time, and everybody done their job to the dot. I mean, everybody knew what they were doing, and everybody kept that up. And that was a performance. That's their best one this season, and that's what we're going by this weekend. If Tottenham play like that, they can't lose. But that's only been once this season. Yeah. You know, and they haven't been great, and they keep on. They've had their best start, but they haven't played anywhere near they've played the season before.
Is it that about that ability for Pochettino to change things around? Look at Eriksen in the Champions League. Didn't start him, but he came on and he scored when he needed him to. Yeah. Is it about being able to adapt?
Absolutely. I think it's that strength in depth. It's the rotation. It keeps everyone involved in the squad. So every day in training, they're all happy because they don't know whether they're going to play or whether they're not. There's no one certain to play. Only Harry Kane, I would suggest. Llorente's not going to look in. But the rest of them, they just get rotated. They're in and out of the team. They all feel part of it. And when you feel part of it and you get left out and your team wins, you can't really knock on the manager's door and say, why am I not playing? Because that's why you're not playing, because the others can step in and do a job. I mean, Sissoko's not my favourite player, but they sung his name the other night against Inter Milan. He is the most improved player they've got at the football club. I mean, Mauricio's found a position for him more centrally. He's driving forward with the ball. He set up the winning goal for Christian Eriksen. He is turned into a very responsible footballer now because he's doing what he's good at. He's winning the ball and he's giving it to people who can play. Instead of playing wide and thinking he can dribble past people and get crosses in, that's not his game. So they've simplified it for him, and he's giving the ball to the likes of Eriksen and Son and Dele Alli, who's come back and looks tremendously fit and fantastic. And they're creating chances for the main man, which is Harry Kane. And
as much as Pochettino can switch things around within the team, for individual players as well, it seems as though like someone like Eriksen has a definite game plan over when he does play the 90 minutes, that his role sort of changes within that.
Yeah, I think he's clever. I mean, he's the... If you said to me who's the most important player, I think it's a toss-up between Harry Kane and Christian Eriksen. I think they're so important to the makeup of what Tottenham give. Now, Christian's being nursed through a period where he's struggling with an injury. It looks like he's over it, but they're not rushing him back in. They've got other players who can come in and do that job. Now, for me, Christian Eriksen can play anywhere in the world. He can go and play for Barcelona, Real Madrid, wherever. Now, Tottenham needs to keep hold of him. And I know the kid, he's not interested. I mean, he's wealthy in his own right. He's not interested in just collecting as much money as he possibly can. He wants to win trophies. Yeah, yes, the Carabao Cup will be a start, but he wants to go and win the Premier League. And if it's not the Premier League, it's a domestic league in whatever country he goes to. And it is being in the latter stages of the Champions League.
We talked about Dele Alli, and you said that he's come back, he looks strong, he looks fit. Is this as well as he's played for a while?
For me, it is. He really looks strong, physically strong. He's got that lovely swagger of arrogance about him, you know, in the nicest possible way. And he looks like he's threatening the goal all the time now. If you said to Harry Kane, give me two players you want to play with in that team, he'll say Christian Eriksen and Dele Alli, because Christian finds him with a pass, and Dele Alli just occupies the centre half for Harry and releases him and allows him to come deep into positions where he can just... Because the kid just keeps making runs. He's fit as you like. 6'3", he's a monster of a kid. He's a threat from set pieces. For me, he's playing... Over the last few weeks, he's playing better than he's ever played.
I agree with you there, but he's got back to doing what got Dele Alli, all the accolades that he got was making runs. He stopped doing that. I think it was last year or the year before. He started coming short. He started trying to get the ball in midfield. Yeah. It's not his game. His game's making runs off the ball, and he's a good finisher as well. And I think the penny's dropped with him, and I think he's got back to that now. And again, he's a major threat. But if you've got people like Eriksen with that vision, you can make them runs. Yeah. You know, no disrespect to a couple of the other players in the team, but you ain't making them runs if they're on the ball.
But that was always the criticism, but the worry for Spurs was that if Harry Kane stops scoring, where are the goals going to come from? But this season, you're seeing those midfielders come in and add to the goals.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at Son gets his goals, Dele Alli gets his goals. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you look at that, Lamela, Moura. I mean, But that is all through what Tim just said. They're involved. They keep them getting involved. So they're not coming in the team and they're going in and they're going, I'm only playing because Soundsow's injured. You know, and they ain't. They're coming in and they're going, bang, I'm involved. And they've turned it on. They have turned it on. They've scoring from everywhere. And it takes a lot of pressure off Harry Kane as well. You know, a lot of pressure. You know, you're not there now thinking, if I don't score, we ain't winning. Yeah. And that's why they are where they are this season, not just because
like last season. I mean, Christian Eriksen 10 goals, Dele Alli 9, Son gets 12. You know, it's still a good turnaround. It's a lot of goals. Yeah. It's a lot of goals, and that's when Harry Kane sometimes missed 11 games or something last season. You know, when he's not there, they come in, they chip in, they still play the same way. Mauricio's got them so confident that they don't rely on just one player. You know, they're all over the field. They've got goal threats.